Hey guys, Bones here. Thanks so much for watching today's video. In today's video, we're going to be doing another one of our assault rifle reviews on Modern Warfare 2. This video's introduction will be focusing on the Lachmann 556. So if you guys are curious about the video layout, here is the video layout or the time frames. So for statistics, we'll just focus on kind of like the ADS speed, the full reload speed, tac reload speed, the damage the Lachmann does, and also a couple other statistics as well. So, and then we have the actual review. This is just kind of my opinionated opinions about Lachmann 556. So we'll get to that later. So, and then we have the loadouts, and what I like to use and what could potentially be good for you to use. Again, this is just my opinions. This is what worked for me. So, but anyways, enough talking. Let's get right into the video. So the first thing that we're going to be looking to the Lachmann 556 is the damage it does. So the first thing that we're going to look into is how many shots to kill it is for each area of the body. So for the Lachmann 556, if we're looking at the head and neck, it takes about 3 shots to kill and 44 damage to the head and neck, as you can see by the boxes that or the hit boxes I have for the player to the right of the screen. Now, the reason why I do this is so you can see where Modern Warfare counts kind of the target areas of the player characters of Modern Warfare 2. So that's the reason why I have this image up to the right as well. So, and then for the upper torso, it takes about 5 shots to kill and 36 to the upper torso, marked by the orange. And then additionally, the lower torso, that's basically everything below the upper torso and the head and neck. That includes 6 or 7 shots to kill. It kind of varies sometimes depending on your range or how far you're firing away from, but that's 32, and that's lower torso, so that it's not bad. It does hit pretty hard, and my opinion is that it does a lot more damage than you would expect. But again, there's some better assault rifles I think that you could use as well. So next to the statistics we're going to be looking at is our time to kill, our damage per second, and our rounds per minute. So for the Lachmann 556, this takes about 162 milliseconds in times to kill. That actually ties for first among the assault rifles, which took me by surprise, but it does make sense now that you kind of compare it to most assault rifles. So for those who don't know, the Lachmann 556, you actually have to level up the Lachmann of the battle rifles first before you unlock the assault rifles, and this, I believe that's how you do it at least. And to actually unlock the Lachmann sub, which is a whole nother weapon that we'll discuss when we get to the submachine guns, but that's a pretty hard hitting weapon as well. But the time to kill for the Lachmann, again, is tied for first. And again, it kind of took me by surprise, if I'm being honest. So the damage per second is 444 damage per second. That's tied third, or that's not tied third, excuse me. That is third among the assault rifles, and that ranks above the Gustav 762, which is, in my opinion, the hardest hitting weapon in Modern Warfare 2. So that was taking me by surprise as well. So it ranks better among the Gustav 762, which was our previous videos review. So, and the rounds per minute is 740 rounds per minute, and that ranks 5th. Now, that I thought it would be higher just because of my spreadsheet that I had, but again, 5th is not bad. It's just kind of in the middle range, so it's nothing spectacular. But again, the Lachmann 556, these statistics right here took me by surprise. Lastly, of the statistics that we'll be looking at is our ADS speed, our full reload speed, and our tac reload speed. For the Lachmann, this is really where it goes downhill. For the ADS speed is 230 milliseconds, which isn't bad. It's tied for third. Again, most assault rifles are tied with each other though, so realistically this ranks below about 5 or 6 other assault rifles, so it's not great. The full reload though, however, in the tac reload, both of these rank last. Now, I know it says 9th and 7th. Now, this is the reason because there's assault rifles that are tied with each other. But the Lachmann 556, the full reload speed is almost half a second slower than the second to last, which is excruciating when it comes to needing that ammo. And especially tac reload is not much better. It's about 0.3 seconds slower than the second to last gun. And now if it's even worse if you put an extended mag. If you put an extended mag like 50 rounds or 40 rounds, I can't remember whichever it is honestly, but if you put extend mags on it, it just slows it down even more, which is where the downfall really comes into play. But enough of the statistics, let's get into my personal review. Alright, so when it comes to the Lachmann 556, my personal opinion on this is that it's a mediocre weapon, and there's honestly a lot more weapons that I think you could personally use. So with the Lachmann 556, it does plenty of damage. I think that's not an issue for this gun. However, the reload speed and the aim down sight speed is just too slow for the gameplay that I like. And it is pretty good at from a range. I'll give it that. The stability in the recoil, it's pretty controllable. But however, it does falter when it comes to just its speed. Now, I constantly am feeling like I'm just getting outgunned because, not because of the damage, but because I simply don't have the reaction time with this gun. Now, I have a slower reaction time than most players, but I also feel like I'm lacking whenever it comes to outgunning people just because I don't have the aim down sight speed, and the slowness of this weapon is really hindering my movements. So that is a big part of my issue with this weapon. I did enjoy using it. I personally did enjoy using the Lachmann, but the only problem is that it's too slow for me, and it personally was not working for the smaller game maps such as like Domination, Team Deathmatch. It just wasn't working for me. And I enjoyed using it. I personally did enjoy using this weapon, but I think there are better weapons to use. I haven't had a gun that I personally hated using, except for the M16. That will be a later review. That will be a rough one. But this gun I did not, I didn't hate using it. I thought it was fun to use, but would this be my choice to use in the future? Absolutely not. I would much rather choose the Gustav 7.62 or the M4 or the Chimera. There's other weapons that I would rather use. So where would I rank this among the assault rifles? I think I would probably rank it at about 6th or 7th among the assault rifles, just because I think there's plenty of other weapons that are way better than this one, but overall, I don't think it's a bad weapon. Alright, so the first thing that we're going to look at in my loadout is the attachments that I use for the Lachmann itself. So you can see here, if you look at the modifications in the bottom left corner of the screen, you can see that the accuracy is increased, recoil control is decreased, just because I think that we can sacrifice that a little bit. And mobility and handling is greatly increased, and that is because I need all the speed I can get with the Lachmann. Now, with the Lachmann 12 barrel, I think that increases speed, and it also increases my chances of being able to aim down the sights without having to worry about getting my butt kicked, because it's a slower weapon. Again, Cronin Mini Pro. I know I've had that in most of my assault rifles, but that's just me personally. I really enjoy having that in the iron sight. I just don't like the iron sight for the Lachmann. So, and then to increase the speed a little bit more, I did the Lachmann S9 factory stock, and that's just because it increases the speed of the Lachmann just a little bit. So, yeah. And then for the rear grip, I did the LMK 64 grip, and again, that increases your aim down sight speed and also increases your accuracy as well. And then for the underbarrel, I did the FTAC Tiger grip, and this is just to increase your vertical and horizontal recoil, just because I don't want to give up all sorts of recoil, but also I want to be able to maintain that recoil as well and not give it up entirely, because if I give it up entirely, then I'm losing exactly what makes the Lachmann so good from a distance. For the loadout itself, this is my loadout, what I currently use. And I know a lot of you are probably like, what the heck is this crap? No, I'm telling you, this is actually a pretty decent loadout. So for the assault rifle, obviously we're going over the Lachmann. For secondary, because I'm using overkill, I just do the SPR 208, and that's just because it's such a good marksman rifle and it's so quick. So I use my maxed out custom SPR 208, and then for a tactical, just because I want to make sure that I can draw out enemies and make sure that if I do hit them with the shock stick, that I can waste all the ammo that they have, just so I have a chance with the Lachmann as well. And this clears out, and you can get multiple enemies with this, and with the Lachmann, it does enough damage where you can mow down 4 enemies without any issues. The drill charge, I think that's really good, just because it gets the enemies out of the corners in case they are, but also you get a hit marker, and it takes half the time it does normally for enemies to get gunned down. So for the perk package, I just go the overkill, obviously. Scavenger, just because the Lachmann, if you use it too much, then you can't run out of ammo pretty quick. Now, I I went on a lot of kill streaks surprisingly with the Lachmann, and I found myself scavenger. I needed scavenger. I mean, I'm telling you, I needed it because I was running out of ammo so quickly. I mean, you go on a 10 kill streak, well, you're gonna run out of ammo by the 7th or 8th kill if you don't manage your ammo. And unfortunately, I'm not great at management of ammo. So, and then hardline. Hardline, I think it's always important to have hardline on most guns that are just subpar, like the Lachmann. And I think that if you decrease the points you need for a kill streak, then the better. And then quick fix, just because I want to make sure I'm recovered from the battle as well. I do the DDoS just because then I can take away their the devices that they're using, but also I like to be able to not have to worry about like a suppressor or something picking me up, especially if I'm rushing into a room. Now a sound suppressor that or not the sound suppressor, the suppresses your footsteps. I can't remember what it's called, but that's pretty good as well, especially if you want to sneak up on somebody. But I think this works just as good. If not, this works better for my taste. I know not a lot of people use this, so that is the loadout that I like to use. Me personally, again, it's just my opinion, but this is what I enjoy the most. Anyways, guys, that's all I have for the Lachmann 5.56. Again, if you guys enjoy using this weapon, I don't blame you. It's not a bad weapon, but I do think there are better weapons to use in Modern Warfare 2. But anyways, that's all I have for today, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please make sure to hit the like button and subscribe below, and I will see you all in next week's review. I know last week I accidentally messed up which gun was next. I thought the STB was next. I believe that's next week's. But anyways, I'll see you all later. I hope you all have a good rest of your day. See you later.